YouTube? It's Josh, FJ55 Iron Pig. Thanks for clicking on the video. As you can tell by the title, it's an update on my Carolina boots. Longer story, or long-ish story, shortish. I had some problems with those boots. Specifically, when I got them, I don't remember if I said this in another video, at the store I was at, Orscheln's, they only had the right boot, your right side boot hanging out, for you to try on, see if it works for you or not. So when you purchase the boots, someone goes in the back and pulls your left boot out. Downside is, in my case, when I got the left boot, it felt a little tight in the heel cup. If you don't know what a heel cup is, that's this part. Specifically, you can see how it's outlined right here with stitching. This is your heel cup right here. Well, it's crushed in on both sides. I guess they had something stored on it. The boot, das Boot, was dirty as all get up. And I figured, well, I could just squeeze it back out, no big deal. I told the person, it's no big deal. If it is, can I bring it back? Well, it turned out to be a huge deal. It was just rubbing the crap out of my heel. Not just a little bit like you're breaking in boots. No, it was like intentionally trying to do me physical harm. So I took them back. And that was 2 days ago, unfortunately, because the boots were extremely comfortable. Downside was, they didn't have any more in my size, and they weren't getting any more in for quite some time. So, I went with the next model. This is the exact same boot, only it's steel toe. Now, it's not quite exactly the same. It feels different on the heel. It doesn't feel as squishy. But these got some cool things with them. This is the 8510, so just a slight difference. The only difference is it has a steel toe in it. And it's also electrical hazard rating, which is, good for me. It has pour-on and aero-glide soles. Suppose you can take the footbed out as well as the insole. It's a permafresh. What's kind of cool about this permafresh, and also has this Dynacool, I think is what it was called. Essentially, you got your foot right here, right? You got your insole, then underneath that you have another thing called a footbed. And they're all removable. Well, your foot up here starts sweating, getting all that funkiness. The insole is supposed to be able to grab that sweat and suck it, not through the first layer, but down inside of it, to where it's then turned into this, like a dry gel in a sense. I thought it was kind of cool. And to tell you the truth, these boots are keeping my feet pretty darn cool, and it's about 80 degrees today. And humid. I live in Arkansas, so we got some humidity. This is the 8-inch. That means this goes 8 inches up your leg. And is the Briar Retro leather upper. This picture does it fairly good justice, the way it looks on my viewfinder here on my phone. It's kind of like a oxblood. If you're familiar with Doc Martens oxblood, kind of like that, only a little darker. I really like the color. As we already said, steel safety toe cap. Pour-on permafresh insole, removable AG7 polyurethane footbed, electrical hazard rating, steel shank, welt construction. That means all along here, if you wear out your sole, just like the Justins I had, if you wear this out, you can take that to a shoe person, basically a farrier in a sense for people. If you don't know what a farrier is, that's someone who works on horse hooves. You can replace this sole because it's sewn on. It's not glued, it's not a part of the upper, which is anything above the sole. It's sewn on so it can be replaced. It's got dual density polyurethane outsole. That's this crap here. So it's a little bit more comfy on your feet. Again, that's the Carolina 8510. The only difference? Steel toe. Now, I am going to do a little bit of a hack on it. And let me show you. Oh, I almost forgot. There's another cool thing about these boots, the 8510s that is. That is, you got your eyelets, just like normal. But these right here, I really need to look up the name of these things. Basically, these little hooks your shoelace grabs a hold of right there. Kind of act like a cam when you tighten it up. These, well here, let's take my boot off. Can't really see it on the viewfinder. There we go. Look how tall these are. And it's made out of brass. It's thick. It's not really thin at all. Really thick. So I have high expectations for this. On the inside, it's radiused or smoothed down, as you can tell there. But downside, which is also an upside, is the shoelace that comes with it is nice. It's just your normal good quality bootlace. It doesn't slide through the brass very easily. The good side of that is that it doesn't slip out easily while you're tying your shoes. I don't like that. That's not my style. There's an easy fix for that. And supposedly this fix has a dual purpose. It could, save your life if you're ever abducted by someone and you're tied up with flex cuffs or duct tape or anything really for that matter, as long as it's not metal. Well, let's take a look on the inside before we get there. Here's the soles. Check out that sole. Dirty sole. Here's that welt construction where you can see the, it's got a lot of green pollen on it right now. See how it's sewn in. Here's the toe. The tongue is padded right down the center, which I really like. Because when you lace up your boot and you get it nice and tight across here, if you don't have padding, you will feel these grommets in a sense. But here we are. We've got our insole. Ooh, that's bright on the viewfinder. Holy cow. Let's get away from the... There we go, that's better. There we go. Dry Z. Come on. Focus onto there. Is that showing up alright? Not really. Let me cover up that light. There we go. Dry Z. It's got an anti-static footbed in it as well, which is good if you're working around computers, things like that. Now it says the footbed is removable. I'm not going to force it out. Yeah, I'm not going to force it out. That's the footbed there, that green thing. So that's that. What am I talking about though when it comes to paracord? Paracord, I'm going to sit down for this by the way. I've already pre-cut these to the right length. And I've got 2 of them. Because I have, 2 feet. I'm not a single foot person. And they're the exact same length as the shoelace. I took the ends right there and I melted them and squished them together like that and twisted it so it creates a point so it passes through the eyelets very easily. I use this instead because one, it slides through here much easier, and when I get up to here I can pull on it and it'll help to suck it down on the bottom of the feet here. So you get more even distribution of tension across your foot. Which, if you're only wearing your boots for a couple hours, it's not going to matter a great deal. It'll be more comfortable. But when you're wearing your boots for 8 to 14 to 16 hours a day, that's something that's really important. So if you're someone who likes to have comfortable shoes, or slightly more comfortable, use paracord. It comes in tons of different colors and patterns. But it slides through here much easier. A lot less friction caused between this. Has a little grippy texture to it. Almost rubberized, but not quite. Works great though, don't get me wrong. But what you can do is you can take your shoelace out of your shoe if you're using paracord. This is 440 by the way. I like it because it's a little thinner. And it fits through these hooks much easier. Is you can take your paracord out of your shoelace. Let's say you got flex cuff. It only works if your hands are in front of you. Take your paracord out, wrap it around one foot and the other to where you have a length of about that much. And you put it right here, like your hands are flex cuffed like this, and these are your feet, and you work it like this in a pumping action. And this is going to saw through that flex cuff really quick, because one is going to create friction and heat, and it's going to melt through that plastic really quickly. I've tried it myself. I didn't have flex cuffs. I used the thicker cable ties, or zip ties, the ones that people who work on AC units use, that really thick white stuff. It's not as durable as flex cuffs though. It's made by a different company, a different brand, different recipe. Supposedly a lot tougher. So all you do, there's tons of ways you can lace up your boots. This is the way I lace mine up, like so. And the inside, this is the inside of the boot that curves in this way. This would be my right foot. I cross over first. The reason why I do this is because then I have the outside crossover like this. Now there's rules of thought with this. When it's tightened down, it doesn't really matter too much. But if you're worried about getting it snagged on the outside right here, you want to switch it around to where you cross the outside in first. Show you here what that looks like. But I find fault in this as well, because when you pull it tight, it's not really going to matter too much, because you're going to have the same amount of stick up, if you will, on either side here. But if you're really concerned about it, whatever side you're worried about getting snagged on branches, metal, hooks, anything like that, you want to have that go underneath, always underneath. I don't know if you can see here. So when I'm climbing ladders and whatnot, the inside of my boots are most likely to catch on the hooks that hold the ladder, as well as other things in my tools. So I don't worry about the outside so much. Because if it goes underneath, it gets sucked down or pulled down a little tighter. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that before, for those of you that are watching, but it is true. So I do it to where the outside of the shoe that faces out while you're wearing it goes over all the time. I hope this isn't completely boring to people, but you know, hey, you might learn something here today. Like, I don't know how to lace my shoes, apparently. There we go. Another nice thing about using paracord, if you're using a color that's lighter than the actual color of the boot or the shoe, is that it contrasts very nicely. I mean, aesthetic purposes, or as Nothing Fancy would say, second kind of cool. So far, I'm really pleased with these boots, the 8-inch Carolina work boots, steel toe. I'm liking them a lot. I really, really do like them. Now, if I were to try and do this with these other boot laces, granted this is much tighter than it would be on my foot, I wouldn't be able to do it as easily or as quickly. And when I'm in and out of my boots a lot, especially in rainy or muddy or weather, I'm in and out of my boots a lot of the time. And you just continue lacing, like so. Kind of give you an idea what it looks like off my foot. Now, I don't remember if I explained this in the other video or not. If you ever buy a pair of boots that have these hooks, you want to make sure that the very last thing that it's fed through, if you lace it up all the way, are eyelets. Eyes, or whatever these things are called. We'll just go with eyelets. Like so. And the reason for this, having those eyelets on top, and why there's not one more set or row of hooks, is like this. If you get we'll create a little tension on here. If you get it snagged on a branch or a piece of metal, it could pop off like this, and then it'll pop off all the way down to here. Next thing you know, you don't have that stability anymore in your boot, and if you're relying on it to keep your ankle from snapping under heavy weight and whatnot, that's going to play a major difference. This, once you tie it up, well, it's weird tying it upside down. There we go. Once you tie her up, it is much, much harder for you to take this shoelace, or in this case paracord, I guess it is shoelace, off of the hook. Much less likely to cause an injury. Much less likely to cause discomfort. Because if you lace your shoe evenly all the way up, to where you have even tension, it is going to create pressure, in a good way, around the top part of your foot, around your heel, and especially this spot, in between your arch right here and your heel, is a common place where you can get blisters, especially if it's in boots that are not laced properly or not to the right size of your foot. Create movement. Anything that causes friction and movement is going to create a blister. And then when you tie it up here, not only is it going to suck it in around your leg like so and keep your socks up, but it's also going to keep it from moving up and down on your leg, and it's going to create pressure from here. I'm rambling. Not this, where is it? The very last eyelet here is what's going to create that tension around your heel cup. See that? I don't know if you can see the heel cup being pinched in there a little bit, but that's going to make it come around the back of your heel. One of the worst things you can do in a pair of shoes, especially boots, is have your heel inside the boot moving up and down. If you have a little bit of movement, that's okay. That can usually be adjusted with your laces. But if you have a lot of movement, either your boot's not properly made for your foot or it's too big. If you have that and you're moving around a lot, you will create pain in your foot if you ever need to really use them for a long time. That's me rambling. I'm sure this video has been going on long enough. I just want to show you and give you an update on the Carolina boots. So far I'm very pleased with these. They're not as comfortable as the 8-inch work boots, the non-steel toe version, but they are comfortable. I'm enjoying them so far. They look good. They feel well constructed. And yeah, I don't have the heel cup problem with these. So if you guys have any questions, comments, smart remarks, please don't hesitate to throw it down below or give me a personal message. Thank you much for watching. You guys have a happy feet day.